to agree as to how best can we improve in dealing with your conditions of service. Membership service is critical. Membership service is critical. So it can't be that you feel less serviced. Hence, many among you were in the classroom as teachers before you joined this sector in an endeavor to produce vocational skills required by the economy of our country. To name but a few, plumbers of our TVET colleges. Instead of producing those welders, builders, and what have you, it's marketing, it's personnel management. We have to reclaim our responsibility as Sadtu in this sector. Some of our fellow unions, the Public Service Act kicked in vis-a-vis Employment of Educators Act. So, from the Federation point of view, COSATU, its founding principles indicated that one union, one industry, and one federation, one country. In the education space, the union that is supposed to organize in that space is Sadtu. But we are also here to demystify all the myths in this sector. We have to get back or reclaim it, if you like. So on behalf of the National Executive Committee, as you reclaim what is rightfully yours, we can't help it but wish you fruitful deliberations. Victory is certain. Viva freedom of
kind of a colloquium that is going to be granted, because that is what you have been sending through me, through an SMS. Appeal, which of
Executive Committee request Comrade KC Matume to approach the podium. I don't see her here now. Is she here? Yes. Commenting them on as we go through the process. Yes. The first candle, the to AIDS. Comrade Casey, we light this candle to represent all our members who passed on, with an intention of bringing about emotional relief, in particular that we must continue to prevent new infections through our effective strategy ABC, which stands for stress reduction, detoxification, nutrition, and hormonal optimization. Heroines who succumbed to the various virus, COVID-19, and those who are in the ICUs as we speak, in hospitals, wards, and home trauma you individually went through. We salute you and encourage anyone who seeks psychosocial help to reduce serious illnesses and possible death if and when infected. We thus light the second candle in remembrance of the losses we suffered and contribute, and emotional abuse and sexual harassment as statistics continue to escalate. This candle, as we light, Comrade Casey, further represents the loss we suffered on the communities we live in, to support a noble initiative taken by the Union Sadtu to protect and defend the schooling environment against the session. And we thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Comrade Casey. At least now the mood is getting there, and it is also our firm belief comrades will be, living or enlivening the colloquium in that fashion, which of course it is so union. It's of our institutions. We must ensure that we guide against anyone who wants to destroy those institutions, because they are there as of our country. So then therefore we're looking into the future leaders, which of course need to be educated by us. So our sector is a strategically placed sector in the organizational rights and the dignity of education workers in the TVET sector, because the president has also spoken about that, sometimes the members of the union in the TVET sector get all the necessary service that they require. Comrade GS.
Amandla to really sing revolutionary songs as part of this particular engagement and as part of the proceedings of this colloquium. But let me thank the program director, this is long overdue. It was a very painful process in 2009 in Kwapanong Hotel, when I personally lost the issues and not be represented by other subsectors of education in that. And I think Jones at the time was the negotiator. He has worked very hard preparing, and we had a commission and we were defeated in that particular commission. A very painful process for that matter. So 2009 and now for these particular processes of the TVET area. And again, that colloquium came out very clear that ensure that their condition of service is addressed, but obviously how do we then improve a number of colleges in our country in areas where they have got enough facilities for them to facilitate this, the imparting of the skills and the knowledge that we require as an economy. And there are those that are working very hard, double the effort and triple the effort in order for them to do the same thing that another institution is doing. And we felt it was critically important that when you look at the negotiators, you need to be able to find a person coming from the TVET area. When you're dealing with the dispute resolution, you need to have somebody who is able to deal with the issues that are happening in the TVET areas. So that colloquium was very clear. It gave a directive. It took us time. 2016-17, we went into an NGC. Into the NGC, we debated again. And then 2019, we went into our Congress. And our Congress resolved for the first time. And thanks to the Congress. And thanks to you who have been participating in the leadership of our organization, that we resolved. Now we are going to launch branches in TVET colleges, and they must be standing on their own as branches within that particular region, instead of depending on the branch that was generally mostly representing the general education and training instead of the technical and vocational sector that we're dealing with. And because there was a cry in 2016, there was a cry in 2005 from the TVET to then say, look, when we report our issues to the branch, it takes so much time for them to listen to us, to understand what we're dealing with. You were saying to us, when we go to mass meetings, what you call general mass meeting, when we go to the Site Steward Council, the only issues that are being debated there are issues of secondary school, and primary schools. Our issues are not being deliberated upon. In other words, we are now orphans in our own organization that we have formed, that we have launched. We were there as the Tvet colleges when this organization was formed. This is our organization because, for example, the first leaders of our organization, some of them came from the technical colleges, Comrade Vice President Agenda. But today you're not coming from Gauteng, so as long as I talk to you because we come from the same township, so I'm trying to trace this thing back so that you understand that we are excited to have this meeting today because, as the President says, it's long overdue. And I think we can take it serious, all of us, including our negotiators, our organizers, we can take this very serious, that we cannot fail as the newly elected leaders of our own branches, in our own colleges across the country. We cannot fail our members. We cannot fail our country. We've got to work very hard in order to do that. Hence, the purpose of today, very simple, is that today it's about us empowering you as the newly elected leaders who are representing the 8 or the other leaders that are remaining behind, is to empower you. One, in terms of exchanging policies with you, all the policies that are governing the TVET sector. We need to exchange those policies with yourself as the leaders first and foremost, and then you go back home and be able to share with our members who are in the TVET colleges. Secondly, some of the policies will then be in the form of PPN. I don't know what is the full name of PPN, post-provision norms, and I wanted to see if Comrade Dudu is still anchored in this because she has been the leader in this particular area of negotiation, dispute resolution, and collective bargaining for many, many years, and therefore those will be some of them. And the purpose here, we brought the DHAT, and then the DHAT to come and make a presentation on the PPN, and then we'll then shift and go into the mode of panel discussion where we bring our negotiators on the table here to then debate about post-provisioning norms informed by the TVET. And maybe, Chair, I can introduce them. I don't have them, but I think somebody has written to me that they are here. I know that Comrade Stusha is here from the DHAT. I know that Mukhwadi is here from the DHAT. I know that Comrade Huma is here. I don't know if she's here or not, but I don't know. But she's here from the DHAT, I was told. Who else is here? Comrade, I wrote. You can't read what I have written. But it's fine. They will be introduced at the right moment, maybe. Hey, you can't bring all the books now. Okay. By the way, I love technical colleges, by the way. I once studied in Seshego Technical College. Is there anybody who comes from Polokwane or Limpopo? Not the gender convener. She does not come from Polokwane. She comes from Skukune, very far from Polokwane. So she can't claim that she knows me there. So I studied some technical skills in Seshego. I didn't finish there. I dropped out. I was doing carpentry, so I dropped out. And then later I did TV repairs, and I was repairing TVs in Mamelodi, Atteridgeville, and Soshanguve. And it was very cheap to repair a TV at the time. And the TV of old Comrade GS from the RRC, they were not expensive. We're only replacing a fuse, but we make sure that even if the fuse has not exploded or whatever it is, we just dust it, because it was that big screen with a very big phone. So the only problem was the dust. And then we knew that the parents or the owners of the TV don't know to the kitchen, and then when they're in the kitchen, we take out the fuse quickly, we blow it a little bit, and then we dust it and we put it back and then say 30 rand. And that's what we're doing. So, that's why I love my TVET. And I represented TVET in the Tshwane South College, right? For a very long time, until I was charged, right? and I was charged for making sure, not anything, but I was charged as a member of the council for failing to make sure that the current Minister of Education is elected as the chair of Gauteng to become the premier. Charge that I have blocked the current minister from becoming, and I was not even in the country for that matter. I was in Canberra, in Canada, very cold area, but beautiful in terms of snow, Shakarame. It's snowing all the time. I was not there. I was with Panya, but that is the history. But then I left college, Tshwane South College, and then I was no longer representing the members there. So from the DHED, of the first elected leaders of our TVET colleges in the country, because this is the first generation of leaders in all the sectors, but this is the first. So our comrades from the DHED are comrades Tusha. I think it's the Tusha back, but I just want them to understand Comrade Munyela, and then Comrade Mbobo. I don't know if she's here. Lulama. The people from KwaZulu-Natal, you should be knowing her. She was once your DDG, from HR. She was responsible for HR. And then I have already spoken about Comrade Mukhwadi and Comrade Huma. The reason for that, for them coming, all of them here, is because there are problems there, based on the CED, EU bargaining unit, and so forth and so forth. There's been a very serious problem. And these members of ours as leaders here have been really struggling, including GS of our students that are studying there. So that's the purpose for bringing you here. And then we will also have a discussion on dispute resolution mechanism, a presentation on the bargainable issues and how bargaining is happening in the ELRC, and therefore also will have, then therefore we switch after the discussion into a panel discussion where we'll a dispute resolution in the ELRC to also participate in this particular debate as moderating the debate, so that you have an opportunity to engage the speakers, to engage the panelists here in terms of, do we understand the dispute resolution mechanism in our education and in our skills development sector in particular, because this is a landscape that basically deals with that. So most of that is to really engage you, is to really to have you participating with the panel throughout, so that it is not just only presentations that are being done. Proposal, if you have those particular proposals, that's the purpose of us engaging in this particular format, rather than to be having us only presenting here and then we leave. I will exchange the want to be very interactive, and then so that it can be beneficial to our leaders that have been elected as new leaders in this particular sector. But obviously, it is also to share more, which will be not long, but also not short. I don't know what it is, but it might be that it's short, because in TVET we believe in workshop mode that the President have spoken about, just to show you the journey that we have traversed throughout. And those who have been here, like myself, long time ago, they went into the DHED after the appointment of Leighton Mande as the minister, and so forth. So we will want to deal with the resolutions of the TVET colleges within the union, and there's another purpose for that, locating the TVET. Sometimes we fight amongst ourselves about semantics, me as a lecturer, and so that's semantics, comrade. That's simple semantics. A professor working in a university is a teacher. A practitioner working in a 3-year-old children, teaching them how to develop their skills, is a teacher. A parent is a teacher, and that is the first teacher. and you working in there, you are doing a teaching job. You are a teacher. We may wanted to have regarded you as a lecturer. We regard a university teacher as a lecturer for simple reasons. And that is very simple. But the main purpose is that that person is doing the teaching job and is teaching. Whether you can't say I'm lecturing. What is it that you are lecturing? I'm legal, you are a lawyer. What is lecturing? I mean, I don't know that. So Mfundisi is a teacher in the church. It's a minister, and that's why they are saying he's a minister, because he's a teacher. He's teaching. So sometimes we engage in those things we are not supposed to be engaged in that. We're supposed to be engaged in these people who are marching out there and say we don't have a job. But I'm coming from a Tvet college and I'm not employed. We're supposed to be engaged about a person who is wearing a regalia and say I have an honors in firefighting, but I'm not having a job. But I'm coming from a school. We're supposed to engage in that and say, why is it that there's a gap between what we teach and what the industry is requiring? Why there is a gap between what we teach and what an ordinary household requires in terms of plumbing, in terms of electricity, in terms of carpentry, in terms of leakages of the roofs and so forth and so forth. We need to be engaging in that, not in semantics. We need to be engaging in that and say, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? That's what we're supposed to be doing, President. We're supposed to be asking that particular question. To say, if you, as a Tvet lecturer, now you are a teacher, but Saturday you employ somebody from Mozambique to come and do your plumbing, what's wrong with you? Not you, therefore. But what's wrong with your college? Not you, not your college, but what's wrong with the education system? No, not wrong. Not what's wrong with the education. What's wrong with the people of South Africa? Maybe we must find that wrong in a chain, and then we must find the answer for that particular chain. Right? Because the question would be, why are we educating and then people are not getting employed? They're not getting to be employing themselves. If you were to drive out now, go to just out here, there's a festival mall. You go to the festival mall, I can tell you, if you go to Builders Express now, you'll find one South African, but you'll find 50 Zimbabweans having brushes, waiting there and say, I want to paint. You'll find them with tile cutters, saying, I want to tile. Where are our students? Where are they? As Tvet. That's what we're supposed to be engaged in, okay, as a country, as people, okay, and say, where is this particular gap? We need to narrow that gap and be able to plug in whatever we need to plug in. So I was reading over the weekend, and I was reading the HRDC of South Africa complaining and lamenting about the skills, and I was reading the annual report of the minister, and then all of them, there's only one line sentence that all of them are complaining about. There is nothing that informs our Tvet colleges from the industry what skills we are supposed to be teaching, what skills we are supposed to be giving or imparting on our students. And I am saying, okay, if these two bodies are agreeing, one is the HRDC, which is the Human Resource Development Council of South Africa, which is responsible for the human resource development of our country, which informs the Tvet colleges through the Department of Higher Education. And the annual report of the Department of Higher Education and Training also identifies that as a problem. For how long are we going to identify problems in South Africa and not solutions? Because their problem has been identified, is there. They say there's a gap between industry and institutions that are training. And what is that gap? In other words, BMW wants particular type of a skill, but BMW is not able to inform us. Why is not able to inform us? Or Mercedes in East London says that now we are changing our systems of braking system. We want to use the ABS and the EBS because we have learned from the pilot that this thing is working. But we need technicians who can be able to deal with this particular thing, but they don't have a gap, they don't have a line that they can use to inform us from the TVET and say, this is what we want. Today, we are looking for solar technicians. Are our colleges, in the TVET colleges, already positioning themselves as this hub that must be able to produce these thousands and thousands of people who must be able to deal with the panel for solar, who must be able to service the inventors that the households and the companies are installing? Are we producing enough to be able to utilize the platinum in our own country from right beyond the truck, and then it must be shipped somewhere else, and when it comes back, there's a battery, and when we buy that battery, 37,000 rands, one battery, just to install it for your inventor, 37,000 rand. And I'm saying these are the things that we bring you here as leaders, first and foremost, that we must go and transform our institution, and these are the things that we're supposed to be talking about. So for these 2 days, we'll then be talking about those particular, and that's the purpose of our colloquium, is to allow you as the new leadership. But what we have done as well is to ensure that you will be receiving, and Cindy is going to, now I'm saying it's Cindy because she comes from the Eastern Cape. Cindy is Cindy in the Eastern Cape. So Cindy Dilange is going to give you a link, and then she'll provide you a link of all these things, including our constitution of Sadtu, so that when we deal with the location of this education sector into Sadtu as a union, you are then able to appreciate that as well. So you will have all the policies that are all the collective agreements that relate to your condition of service up until where we say PPN, where we say this and so forth and so forth. So thank you, Program Director, for allowing me to talk too much, but I thought that that is the purpose. We do not want complicated things. We want simplified things. We want to be able to engage at the end of the day. So thanks, President. I see she ran away. Vice President, you can take off. Or the President. I can't chair. Not that I cannot chair. I'm a specialist in chairing.